Hello everyone and welcome. This video will be more about the basics like pairing, why it's important to reset. Maybe you have a set of Astera lights or maybe you are renting one for a gig, then this is the right place to be. We are going to go through pairing the lights also with the AsteraBox here with our AsteraApp, and of course resetting and the whole workflow until we go to the actual set. First thing we got to do is of course open our case of lights right here. So that's the first thing we are gonna do. Next thing is that since we only have a few lights, so 8 lights, we can turn them on here by the power on off button. If you have a lot amount of lights, it might also be a good idea to use the remote control, the little ARC1, which also comes in handy for a lot of lights when you are on set with that. Next thing to do is to reset. There is a lot of settings, so if you for instance have rented in a kit, make sure to start from scratch, and starting from scratch is resetting the lights. With these few 8 lights, we can do it directly from the display or the backside. Find reset settings, enter for yes, then we just keep on doing that until we have done it with all 8 lights. If you have a lot of lights, it can also be more efficient to use the app. Watch Getting Started with the Astera app, find the reset, and there is also a ways of resetting the light with the app. Can be more efficient when you have a huge amount of lights. Now we have reset the lights. You saw that they were lighting up white before, indicating the reset is lit up by red once we have reset the lights here as well. Next thing we got to do is to take our smartphone, can also be a tablet like I have here, and then our AsteraBox. This is the bridge between the app and the light, so we can talk with the lights from the Astera app. First of all, go to the Astera app here and go to the main menu, the 3 lines up on top. Up on top you will see there are no bonded Bluetooth bridges. Tap here to add some. Press there. We also have BTB lights we can pair with the app here. In my case now, it's the AsteraBox, so we are going to hit the AsteraBox. Please turn on your AsteraBox, then we are going to turn on our AsteraBox. Hold down the power button. Once the little blue LED diode is blinking, it's actually turned on. Alrighty, now we can press the yes button and move on. What we see on the back side here of the AsteraBox is a little label up on top with the name of the AsteraBox, so we are able to find it when we want to connect with it. And then we also have the Bluetooth pairing pin. This is sort of the password for us to get access to the AsteraBox as well. Mine is the top one, the 908095. Press it and sooner or later it will ask you for the Bluetooth pairing pin, which is the case right here. 001833 pair. It's of course different from AsteraBox to AsteraBox. Now we have access, we also see the battery state of the AsteraBox. In some cases the connection may fail, then a little info box will pop up to tell you what kind of steps you can do to solve that issue. What you see up on top is the default radio pin, the 4x0. This is there by default when downloading the app. We don't recommend to have the default pin 4x0 because if you and another guy maybe on the same set has Astera lights, both paired to the default pin 4x0, you will actually interfere with each other. So I recommend here to change it to a little bit more personal. It can be anything what you prefer, but let's say 1465, I don't think that anybody else or the chance of anybody else having the same radio pin would not be this high. Press the OK button. Now the next thing we are going to do is actually blue moding the lights. This is done by holding down the power button for approximately 3 seconds until it blinks blue. That of course has to be done light by light, so we are just going to continue until all of the lights are blinking blue before we go to the pairing process from the Astera app here. Now my 8 lights here are blinking blue. It also means that they are pairing ready. When we do the pairing process from the app, just means that the pin or the radio pin we currently have set in the app will be transferred to the lights. Also means that once the radio pin matches between the lights and the app, we can control the lights. Next thing we got to do is pair with lights, the button right there, and a little progress bar will pop up. We just need to wait until the light stops blinking blue, then we know they are paired. In some cases, some of the lights might not be paired after this progress bar is done. If this is the case, just run the pair with lights one more time. Be a little bit patient, it can take a little while. Now we just need the last one here, and now all the lights here are connected. Once the lights have been paired, we can now go out of the main menu here, and the lights will also start to pop up in the list here. We have 8 lights on the list. This is also what we just paired, so everything seems to be right. A good thing to do afterwards is simply just to check if they have been paired. So we can go to the tab next to the list of connected lights. By default, it will be on all lights right there. Then we can go to the effect page and simply maybe try the rainbow. Then we will also see that the rainbow effects is actually running on all 8 lights. Also means that we are now paired with the AsteraApp. I think it's just a good idea to double check when you have paired the lights to the app. Once we have paired the lights to the app and checked if everything is paired, it's also important to know if we have the latest firmware. Now to check this, we can go to the main menu, go down to App Settings, and up on top you will see Lights Background Update. All the lights you have paired to the app will be listed here and tell you if the lights are out of date or if they are up to date. I also made a separate tutorial about app updates and firmwares. If you want to learn more, there is a tutorial about updating firmwares as well. Now that the lights are paired to the app, just want to go through some of the tabs so you understand where everything is. So the left tab, the very left one, is actually our list of connected lights. This is also where we can keep, let's say, an overview over the battery states. We can also set DMX addresses. There will also be other tutorials for this. When we go to the next one is all lights. This is also the target page, is where we can create groups, create individual lights if we want to control them individually, flow sets, sync sets. There is also a getting started with the AsteraApp that explains all these ways of creating groups. Find that tutorial and get to know all the details about that as well. When we go to the middle tab is our effect pages. Here also by default, when we scroll one back, is our film effects. We also call it layered effects. Simply just scroll around in the app here and find some effects. You can also create your own. It's also explained in the getting started with the AsteraApp. Now let's say we want to have the just red and we want to edit it, maybe have another color. Then we can go to the editing page, and the editing page is found on the next tab right next to the program effect tab. Now we could, for instance, go into our C1. Now we can change the colors, also see them changing while I'm actually going through right here. HSI control as well, CCT, green, magenta, hue, saturation. We also have Lee filters with Lee daylight, Lee tungsten, Roscoe daylight, and Roscoe tungsten as well. The last tab here is for the brightness control, so we could also dim them down, just as you see here. This is a master. Once we start to create sets, you will also have individual control over your individual sets. Now, since we are working with battery lights, we of course want to save as much battery as possible for the actual set. So what we can do, let's just go back to the list of connected lights, head to the main menu, the 3 lines up in the right corner. There is something down here called minimum runtime. Press that one and you will see that we can actually set the lights to be running up to 20 hours. Now once you program the lights or setting them up, whether it's the app, maybe DMX, set them on 20 hours and save as much battery as possible for the actual set. Once you are done, you can of course adjust the runtime here just as much as you like, maybe 8 hours. The runtime is calculated from a fully charged battery. Just keep that in mind. Fully charged, we can also count on that they will run for 20 hours, just in case you want to have the lights running for 20 hours. Now, before we mount all the lights in an actual set, it's always much easier to just configure everything from the case maybe, or from the floor, wherever you put them. Then we can configure them, maybe create some groups, and then we can mount them afterwards. Let's start by adding 4 lights to a sync set. A sync set is where all the lights do the same at the very same time. I would like to put 4 together to have a key light, so let's press the sync set. I want the 4 lights down here below to be a part of the sync set, so we can now hit the enter button on the first one, second one, third one, and also the fourth one. Then you will also see they start to pop up here. What we can do is now rename them just so we can see and be able to identify them better later. Then we can say key, go back and place it right there. What we are going to do next is the last 4 lights. I want them to be individual, to be able to control them individually with brightness and also the effects maybe even. Press the plus button again, always the plus button when we want to create something. Go down to the individual lights, and it is now written on the right side that the 4 of the lights here are as key. These are not the ones we want as individual, so we just choose the other 4 right there. Just like that, place them, and here we have the individual lights. A good thing here, by default you will see this view of the targets. We can change it to have the brightness control on the run and also more efficiency when we change a color or maybe an effect. What you see up in the right corner is 3 lines with 3 dots. Press that one, then we can change the view of these. Now, for instance, if I would take this tube right here, we can also highlight it. This is actually that one. Then we can adjust the brightness, and you will probably, hopefully see in the camera that it's also adjusting. So now I have individual control over these 4 lights. There is of course many ways to do grouping and how you do it. We also have separate tutorials on this. Go find the Astera Academy and learn everything there is to know about grouping as well. Now, once we have created the groups I want here in the app, then we can start mounting them in the way we want to. Now when we have the setup done and all the tubes are mounted here around me, I have my key and I have my individual lights around me. Now the key is the only thing lighting up, so we can now go here and change the color to maybe a warm color. As we talked about in the beginning with the brightness controls right here, or we can do it directly from the target page, go here and adjust the brightness so we can get a nice look when it comes to this. So this is the key with the 4 lights in a sync set group. And if we want to, for instance, control the individual lights, then we can go here, we can highlight, see which one we want to control, maybe even the back one here. Press the effect, and then we can go in and give it a warm color here as well, just turning on behind me. Now I tried to do a little bit different setup also to show you guys what is actually doable in the app with the different effects, also having 4 tubes hanging in different heights and doing some nice effects. You can of course find details about this on the Astera Academy if you want to learn more about effects and grouping and how to create such effects. Guys, I hope you have learned something. Thank you for watching.